Enough of the talk, let's walk the walk. Grab the code from our previous lecture, Organizing and Refactoring Your Code. Click the project main folder. And here I'm going to create a package that holds all of my page objects. I'm going to call that package pages. Just copy the init.py file and paste it in the pages folder. Open Sublime Text and drag and drop Traveling Tony into Sublime Text. Click on the project main folder. You see the structure of our project there. First, we want to create the base page object. So right click on the pages folder, click new file, and then let's save that file as base page. Just copy the code from command.py into basepage.py. Let's make some changes. Let's rename our object base page. Next, we want to add the method that verifies that we are on the correct page. So I'm going to call that method verify page. It's going to be an abstract method. So I'm going to add at abstract method. Let's add a comment here. What can we say? We can say this method verifies that we are on the correct page. We want this verification to be done as we are instantiating the page object. So I'm going to add this method in my constructor here. Next, I want an exception to be thrown whenever we try to instantiate the wrong page. So I'm going to create a custom exception called incorrect page exception. And let's add a comment here as well. You can say, what can we say? We can say this exception should be thrown when trying to instantiate the wrong page. Cool, this should do it for our base page object. Next, let's create our contact page object. Just copy the code from base page and paste it in the contact page.py file. Let's make some changes here. Our object now is going to be named contact page, and our object is going to inherit from the base page object. We don't need all the Selenium wrap calls here. Let's modify the constructor. The constructor is going to call the superclass constructor. So I'm going to write super contact page self that init driver. Now let's add the code to our verify page method. So I'm going to add that code in a try except class. We are going to verify that the first name field is displayed. So wait for element visibility. We are going to use XPath as the locator strategy here. And if the first name field is not found, we are going to raise an incorrect page exception. Let me grab the locator for the first name field. Should be on my desktop. It is here. Copy this. Paste it here. Next, we need to add the submit request method. I already written the code for this method, so I'm just going to copy it from my cheat sheet here. All this method does is enter all the required information on the contact page and just submit it. Next, let's modify the send request test. We are going to remove any reference to the common module. Instead, we are just going to import the contact page object. And let's remove the code in our test here. We are going to instantiate our page object. We are going to call it contact page object equals contact page self.driver, and then call the submit request method. That submit request. Cool, let's take a look at our contact page here. Here we need to import our base page object. Cool, this should do it. So let's go to the terminal and let's run our test. Type cd into the terminal and drag and drop traveling Tony folder into the terminal. Click enter, cd into the test folder, and run send request test.py. Here's an invalid syntax. Let's okay, this should do it. And our test passed here. So we have written our first test using page objects. Now let's write our second test using page object. Let's go to Sublime Text and let's create another page object. We are going to call it the product page object. Copy the code from contact page and paste it in the product page.py file. Now our page is going to be called product page. Change this. Let's remove this. Our page here is going to have one method, which is click on Facebook share button. Okay, here we are going to verify that the quantity drop down is displayed. So we can locate the quantity drop down by ID. Let me go back to my cheat sheet. And this is the ID here. Paste it here. Now I already written the code for the click on Facebook share button method as well. So I'm just going to copy it from my cheat sheet here. And paste it here. So all this method does is click on the Facebook share button and then switch to the Facebook login window. Let's save this. Next, we need to create the page for the Facebook login page. So we are going to save this page as Facebook login page.py and copy the code from product page.py into Facebook login page.py, and let's make some changes here as well. We are going to call the page object Facebook login page. And the method here is just login. Let's remove this. Here we are going to verify that the Facebook email field is displayed. We are going to locate that field by ID. I believe the ID is email. Now we are going to do something different here in the Facebook login page. We are going to pass the Facebook username and password to the constructor. I've already written the code for the login method, so I'm just going to copy it from my cheat sheet as well. And just paste it here. Let's align the code. Cool. Now, finally, we need to create the share on Facebook page. So I'm going to click on the pages folder, click new file, and save this file as share on Facebook page.py. The same routine, we are going to copy the code from product page.py into share on Facebook page.py and make the changes. Share on book page. This object will just contain one method, which is share. Let's remove this. And here I want to verify that the share link button is displayed. We can locate that link by name, and I believe the name of that button is share. So I'm just going to copy the code for the share method. And just paste it here. Next, we want to change the test case.py code. We want our code to use page objects as well. We are going to remove any reference to the comment module and just import the product page. And import the Facebook login page as well. Let's just remove this code here from the setup method. I've already written the code for the setup method, so I'm just going to copy it from my cheat sheet as well. Let's rearrange it. Save. And now, let me explain how the test case code works here. Here we open the product page URL. We click on the Facebook share button. Then we log in into Facebook. So the setup method here already logs the user in Facebook. Let's save this code and let's modify the test share on Facebook test. We are going to remove any reference to common module. We are just going to import. Let's make some changes here. First, our test should be called share on Facebook, not send request test. Okay. Here I'm going to import the test case module, which I'm doing here. So basically in our setup here, we are already logging in into Facebook. So all I have to do is just instantiate the share on Facebook page. So I'm going to write share on Facebook page object equals. Let's import share on Facebook. So equals share on Facebook self.driver, and I'm just going to call the share method here. Let's try running this test from the terminal. To run this test, we are going to write Python share on Facebook test.py. And our test passed as well. Let's go back to Sublime Text. And now we can remove the comment.py file. I'm just going to delete it. We don't need it anymore. And that's it. Now you know how to use page objects in your test. Next, let's see how to track navigation on your website.